Tennessee WildCast is live on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
All right, hello everybody and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. I'm glad you're tuning in. Thanks for watching on Facebook, and we're excited about today's show. Today we're talking about boating, and I've got Mr. Don King helping me co-host today. How you doing, Don?
Good, Jason. Thanks for inviting me, and hey, a lot of good info for boaters out here today.
Yeah, I'm excited about what we're going to talk about. There's a lot going on in the world of boating, even though it's hunting season. Boating's still happening, and it's slowing down a little bit, but there'll be folks out trying to get to their duck hole or their favorite deer spot that's only accessible by water sometimes, and
that's
we'll
right.
Talk about some of that and just boating in general. So I'm going to pan out here and introduce our guest, Mr. Josh Landrum, as our District 21 boating officer. How you doing, Josh?
Doing good. Enjoying the cool weather.
Yeah, it's cooling off, and about time to get out there and do some deer hunting, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Josh is District 21 boating officer, and he's been with us for quite a while. Josh, how long have you been with the agency?
I've been with TWRA since 2011.
2011, so about 7 or going on 8 years now. And you've always been in boating, or what's your role been?
I started out in Houston County as the Houston County Wildlife Officer, and then I transferred into Davidson County as the Davidson County Wildlife Officer.
Okay.
And I've been in the boating division, in the boating position for about 4 years now.
So what's your favorite part about being with the agency? Was it the boating side of things, or are you?
Oh, yeah. That's why I got into this job in the first place. I'm a big bass fisherman, and I love being on the water, and the boating position is the position I will be in for the remainder of my career.
As long as they'll have you.
Yep.
That's great.
I love being on the water.
That's awesome.
That's great.
So you said you love bass fishing. So who introduced you into that sport, bass fishing?
My dad. I grew up down in Chattanooga and Soddy Daisy, Tennessee, and my dad was always big into fishing, and we fished. I grew up fishing Chickamauga, so that's pretty much, when I realized I wanted a job in the outdoors.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. There's some big fish on Chickamauga.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We've got the state record largemouth there. And,
oh, man. And speaking of jobs in the outdoors, I gotta pat you on the back, Josh. I saw leading up to Memorial Day and 4th of July holidays, big boating weekends, the news crews always want to come out and ride and, talk to you about on the water, about boating safety and that kind of thing. And be nice if there was that much interest the rest of the summer too. But we're glad. We'll take what we can get. But I saw you on a couple of occasions, and you did an excellent job of getting the message out, and just in a very concise way. And they don't give you all that much time on TV. It's pretty time compressed. So you got a lot of great information out there. I just want to tell you thanks for all you do out there.
We're fortunate here in Nashville to have some great news media folks.
Yes.
They do an awesome job, and I work well with them. They work well with me, and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy getting them out there on the boat, and they enjoy being out there.
That's good.
Something a little bit different than being in the studio in the office there. I
Right,
like to get out. I was just informed before we started the show that you're going to be I'll get the word out here in a minute. Recognized.
Recognized, yeah.
At the Mothers Against Drunk Driving Awards banquet this year for the third year in a row on your efforts with BUI enforcement. Yeah,
it's that's my biggest passion in my job is our BUI enforcement and our BUI program. That's what a lot of our officers' passions are, keeping the waterway safe and removing those operators that are impaired from our waterways. Right. So folks that are out there with their families can enjoy our waterways and stay safe.
And be safe. Well, congratulations on a third year in a row recognition. And so is there what all's involved with that banquet?
It's just a banquet. They recognize officers from all over the state for their DUI efforts, and our TWRA officers for their BUI efforts, and they hand out awards.
Okay, awesome. Well, congratulations on that, and keep up the good work. Anything else you want to fill in? Tell us about yourself.
I'm a big Vol fan. I went to UT.
There you go.
I went to UT Knoxville, so I'm a UT grad, majored in wildlife fisheries management. I graduated in 2007, and whenever I graduated, jobs in our careers are very hard to come by. So I applied to just about every state in the Southeast wildlife agencies, and I was fortunate. I got hired on with the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources in 2008 as a conservation officer.
All right.
So I started off my career as an officer down there in Shelby County, Alabama, which is in the Hoover area. A lot of people are familiar with the Hoover area, Birmingham. So I was down there for about 3 years until I got the chance to, move back up here.
Well, glad you're back in Tennessee. I didn't realize you worked down there for a few years.
Yep.
Well, that's awesome.
Hey, speaking of UT, have you ever worked the? Hey, wait a minute. I got interrupted there.
Not on purpose.
What's that, Jason?
That's some new music I found. It's time for TWRA Q&A.
Ah, catchy.
Yeah, a new little segment we want to try out on you folks watching today. I know they didn't know you had another thought, but we'll come back to that.
All right. That's all right.
We're trying out this new idea for a little bit of Q&A time on the Tennessee WildCast. And today, since we're talking boating, I thought, why not hit up some boating questions?
Perfect.
And answer those for the folks at home. So a lot of questions come in on boater education classes and how they can get involved in those. And let's just start from the top. How do you find a class? Josh, how do you find a class for boating?
Yep. Folks can go to our website, tnwildlife.org. They can go to the boating division tab, and there's a place for boat education where they can go on there and find a boat class in their area, in their county, where they can go and take the class.
And a lot of these questions can be answered by going to tnwildlife.org. But so if somebody wants to take a class, what's the cost? Is there a cost for the class?
They have to have a Type 600 permit when they come to take the class. That's a $10 permit that they need to bring with them.
Gotcha. And then Type 600, you said that. And how old do you have to be before you can take the class?
12 years old. They got to be at least 12 years old before they can take the boating class.
And I'm going to pull up, for you watching at home, just pull up the website here and show you. This is the education page, and you can scroll down here and if I can find my cursor. Yeah, you can scroll down, and some of these questions that we're asking can be answered right here. What do you need to be boater education certified? How do I study? And that's you can study online, or you can come to the classes and study, but you still have to buy the permit and to take the test. And sometimes tests are given other locations. Where can you take tests most of the time, Josh?
Yeah, if there's not if in their county, if there's not a physical place where an officer teaches the class,
right.
Lots of times the local library will offer the class, and they can sit and have a monitored test by the librarian at one of the library computers. So that just tries to make it easier for these more rural counties that will have a library with computers where they can go and take that class.
The secret is just getting prepared for that one, though, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, that one you definitely want to study for.
Yeah.
Probably get some of the study guides off online, study for a little bit before you go take that one.
Yeah. Hey, and the boater ed classes are kind of like hunter ed to me, in that you got a person in your family that's young enough that needs that certification to operate a boat, and a lot of times the parents will come along too, just as a family activity, and a lot of great information within that, even for what people consider themselves seasoned boaters, that've been doing it for years, but yet there's a lot of the nuances, a lot of the navigational stuff that people just never really learned that they can pick up in those classes.
Oh yeah, every class I teach, I always have a parent come to me and say, "Man, I'm glad I sat through this with my child, because I didn't know a lot of that material.
Yeah,
I learned a lot.
Yeah,
and I'm glad I sat through it." So. It's a great thing, especially, lots of times, adults do bring their kids and they sit through the class with them. So, and that's a great idea for them to go ahead and take the test. I tell them, go ahead and take the test and get your Type 600 permit, and you get certified also.
That's good.
Now, one last question on this. Does it help with your insurance?
It could. It could possibly help with your insurance.
In a lot of cases.
In a lot of cases. It depends on your insurance company, but lots of times it will lower your insurance if you provide proof that you've taken a boater safety class.
So that's good for those older folks that are sitting there watching, in the class with their kids. Might as well go ahead and take it.
Yep, definitely.
Awesome. Well, that's I think this is going pretty good.
We are getting our money's worth out of this theme music, I tell you. It ended.
Yeah, that's
I was
it.
going to say, man, this is like an album version
Yeah.
of this thing.
So anyway, hey, this is just something we're trying out, something new, something exciting. Just change it up a little bit. And one other thing that we're getting a lot right now as far as questions coming in is how can I comment or how can I give you some input on the waterfowl and migratory bird season setting. So that comment period right now is October 15th through November 30th. You can go to our email us at twra.huntingcomments@tn.gov, or you can mail in your comments to our P.O. Box 40747, Nashville, Tennessee 37204, and then make sure you specify that's coming to the 2019-2020 hunting season comments, and that'll go to the Wildlife and Forestry Division. So that's one other question that we're getting a lot of these days. So anyway, there's
we try to make all that pretty accessible on the front page of the website as well.
Actually, on our website, you can go to our homepage and find that info right there. Mr. Lee Wilmot has wrote a press release and gives you all those details right there.
Yeah, that's good.
Get to it. So that is our TWRA
Q&A.
There you go.
All right. Sorry for the gap there. We need a little theme music to bridge it.
Yeah. You want me to cue that back up?
We need some girl singers, I think, doing that.
I'm gonna figure something out.
Okay.
All right. So maybe next time we'll have a little bit more, vocals in there.
All right.
All right. Let's get back to what we're here for today, the boating side of things, and we're gonna do a little reflecting on this past summer boating season, and talk a little bit about some of the statistics. So, Josh, fill us in a little bit on how the season's gone so far, and just a little bit of information on that.
Yeah, statewide it was a fairly busy boating season. We had a few rainy weekends that we had slower than normal traffic.
Down a little bit.
But other than that, it was still a fairly busy weekend for our officers statewide. Unfortunately, we ended up this summer with 23 fatalities so far throughout the summer, which is obviously way too many. There's never going to be one fatality is way too many.
Right.
So we did have unfortunately 23 fatalities, and we had 48 serious injury boating accidents statewide. So that's something that our officers work every day to try to curb. That's why we're out there,
right,
looking for folks who are driving recklessly, just trying to prevent some of these accidents from happening.
Yep. And again, I mean, our people want everybody to have a good time. I mean, that's what boating is all about. It's fun, and just keeping the waterways safe enough that everybody can really enjoy them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just hope, we put the message out there to be prepared when you go to the water. Be prepared, have enough life jackets in your boat. Be prepared for something to happen, because lots of times, it's the weekends, people are, just getting off work. They want to enjoy their weekend. Mm-hmm. And lots of times they'll just not think about what they really need to bring. And, the water is can be a very dangerous place.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to, put that message out there for folks to come to the water prepared.
Yeah, maybe pull together a checklist. I don't know if you've ever thought about that or encourage people to do that. Pull together a checklist and make sure you got everything before you hit the lake.
Well, when you guys do a safety check, you pull somebody over just for a step-on safety check. What are those requirements? What are you looking for there?
Yeah, whenever we stop a vessel, what our officers look for is, we're looking at the registration, making sure their vessel is up to date on the registration, making sure they have a life jacket that is a good life jacket and it's, doesn't have any holes, tears in it.
Right.
They have to have a life jacket for every person that is on the boat, and that life jacket has to fit the people that are on the boat. So if they have a small child, obviously children under 13 have to be wearing that life jacket at all times.
Right.
That life jacket has to actually fit that child. So we'll be looking for life jackets, a fire extinguisher. They have to have a workable fire extinguisher, and a throw cushion if their boat is 16 feet or over. Those are typically the main things that we are looking for.
Okay.
And, along with that, too, we're always looking for impaired boaters. So, if we see something where the driver might show some signs of impairment, we'll address that also.
And then speaking of the life jackets there, I was thinking they have the inflatables out these days, and those don't work for kids, right?
Correct.
There's a certain age limit for those.
Yep, 16 and over.
And
are the only folks that can wear the inflatables.
Yeah. Let's go back to those numbers just a little bit, and I don't want to labor too much on fatalities, but there were 6 on paddlecraft and 5 involving PWC. Is that normal? Are you seeing a lot more with PWC and paddlecraft, or?
Yeah, that does seem to be a little bit high for this summer. The paddlecraft are becoming very popular. The stand-up paddle boards, just recreational kayaking in general is becoming very popular. So the main thing on those is wear your life jacket. I know it's required to be on there, but wear it. If you're on that paddlecraft,
yep.
If you're on that kayak, wear it, because lots of times it's unexpected things that happen that cause these accidents.
And you're in moving water 9 times out of 10 with those anyway, and the current is moving your life jacket that's not on you away from you.
Yeah. Yep.
The wrong direction. So if it's not on you, oh man, it's not doing you a bit of good.
I took my son. My son's name is Fisher.
I like that.
I like that.
I took my son Fisher to the Buffalo River this past week on one of my off days.
Oh.
And which he's 9 years old, so he was in his life jacket the whole time, and I was in my life jacket the whole time.
Sure.
And that water, Buffalo River, there's definitely sections of it that there's trees laying down. If you hit any one of those objects and you fall in, you don't have long to react.
Right.
For something to go wrong. So wear the life jacket.
Yeah.
On the paddlecraft, or what are the requirements other than maybe a life jacket that you got to have? Is it much different than a regular boat on the lake?
It's not much different than a regular kayak or another paddlecraft.
Okay.
The stand-up paddle boards. Is that what you asked? The stand-up paddle board?
Yeah. Well, just in general,
Okay.
like for paddlecraft, do you have to have more than a life jacket?
No. Yeah, you just have a life jacket for everybody on that boat. If you happen to be out after sunset, you do have to have a means to a white light that you can shine if a boat comes into your area.
Okay.
So, which I highly recommend. A headlamp, and have that headlamp on at all times.
All times, yeah.
That's what I recommend. But the law does state it just needs to be shined when a boat comes in your area to prevent an accident.
Okay.
But definitely have that headlamp on at all times, because some of these bass boats and bass tournaments at night, they're going pretty fast.
Right.
And those paddlecraft are very hard to see, and lots of times that reaction time to turn on that light might be just a little bit too late. So make sure you keep that light on at all times.
And best we can tell, just from looking through the numbers, I've got a note here that Miss Betsy Woods got for us. She's our boating education coordinator. That apparently, possibly 10 of these could have been prevented if they had been wearing a life jacket. 10 of the fatalities.
That's correct. 10 out of almost half half of those fatalities almost could have been prevented if they were wearing a life jacket, and that's how important they are.
That's pretty much half of what happened. Half of the fatalities. So, 50% could have been maybe stopped or prevented.
And several of those, many of those were strong swimmers too, by their own estimation and by others too. So it's, just being a good swimmer doesn't exempt you from the problems.
The fatalities that I've worked over the years, it's amazing to me how many times the story is, oh, he was doing fine, he was a strong swimmer, and he was there 1 second and then just gone
disappeared.
the next.
Yeah.
He didn't struggle, or they didn't struggle. Nothing. It's time after time after time. That's typically the story, and it's sad.
Well, let's switch gears and look at what's ahead. It's getting cooler, and people will be out boating, doing some fishing in the cooler times of the year, looking for hunting spots. How do you encourage people or educate people in this time of year?
Yeah, especially during waterfowl season. Get into your blind. You're a boater before you become a duck hunter that day.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you're still required to have all the proper gear, all the proper life jackets, throw cushions, registration. So you're still required to have all that. And during those times of year, the water is super cold. So you need to be prepared for something to go wrong. Know what to do if you end up in the water. And, that's something that everybody needs to think about before they go out, hunting.
Navigational lights too, because
Yep.
you're going to be out before the sun comes up.
Yeah, make sure you check, especially on these duck boats. A lot of them, they don't get out in those boats all year long. So make sure you check your lights before you go out that day.
Another stat that Betsy had passed on was 68 degrees is considered cold water. So that doesn't seem very, very cold when you think about it, but
Yep. Last night, I just happened to be in Houston County at one of their hunter ed classes. I was actually taking my kids to the hunter ed class last night in Houston County. And one of their instructors is a doctor, and we were talking about hypothermia. And he brought up a point that, the average body temperature is 98.6 degrees. And he said hypothermia starts kicking in and your body temperature going to 95 degrees. So it only takes 3 degrees of your body temperature of dropping of your body temp before hypothermia starts to set in. So that's not a lot.
Huh.
Hypothermia, is a serious deal and can happen quickly.
Right.
Wow, that's crazy. I never thought about that. Never knew that. So any more information that we want to pass on to the duck hunter or the deer hunter getting out there this year and in the water and making their way to their honey hole?
Wear the life jacket. Wear your life jacket to that hunting hole, to your duck blind. Once you get to the duck blind, take it off. Like I said, especially if you go in the water, that if you end up in the water, that life jacket's going to help keep your body warmth inside in you. So
and they make float coats and things like that too.
Correct. Yep.
Those are
really. I wear a float coat a lot of times during the wintertime when I'm out working.
Yeah.
And those are awesome to have. I mean, and they give you plenty of buoyancy. So they're a great tool.
That's good. And I'm a huge fan of the inflatables. When you don't want to be encumbered by, the typical life jacket. Those inflatables, you put them on, and 30 seconds later, you totally forget you have it on.
Yep. And, that brings up a good point, fishermen. The majority of the time that in our fatalities where a fisherman drowns, it's not when the big motor's on. Lots of times it's, while they're fishing.
Standing up.
Yep, they end up in the water somehow. Yeah. And, a lot of times in our fatalities accidents where it's a fisherman.
Yeah.
They weren't wearing their life jacket. And that's where those inflatables could come in real handy.
And I know Betsy really has a heart for the fishermen especially. She sort of describes that demographic, of 40 and above guys out fishing either by themselves or maybe with one other guy. And typically you're standing up, you're using a trolling motor, but like you said, it's just so easy. I mean, you hit an errant stump, a little knock, and you lose your balance and you're in the water before you know it.
Yep. I worked a fatal accident. It was probably 3 years ago, where it was a fisherman that fell off his boat and drowned, and I could see evidence on the boat where he had attempted to get back into the boat, but he just couldn't. And the cold water, he succumbed to the cold water because it was during the wintertime.
Yeah.
So, that life jacket will save lives. It definitely saves lives.
It seems like we keep coming back to that. Wear your life jacket. Whether you're a hunter or a fisherman, whatever you're doing on the water, if you're just out there having fun, life jacket.
Can't say it enough.
Yeah. Yep. They float, you don't. That's what we titled the show. They float, you don't. So,
all right.
Let's just keep reminding people. Anything else you want to hit on boating-wise? I kind of wanted to ask your opinion or your thoughts on becoming a wildlife officer or a boating officer, if you want to encourage people to do that, how you do that. But anything else on boating before we go that route?
One statistic that we had down here, we did have 75 BUIs across the state this year. And, like I said earlier, that's one of our agency's big passions is to get those impaired boaters off the waterway. So, if we want people to have fun, just make sure you take a designated driver out there with you so we can get that number even lower next year.
Gotcha.
Hey, before the theme music came on, and I was in the middle of
you had a
asking
question.
Okay, we were talking about UT. We were talking about the water, and the Vol Navy came to mind. And I was wondering, have you ever worked the Vol Navy detail?
I have not had a chance to go out there and work it. I've been invited, and I've just not been able to make it happen. So
yeah, big Vols fan. You need to do it.
Yeah, I think there's a big Vol game, UT game this week too, if I'm not mistaken. UT and Alabama. Go Vols.
Yeah, go Vols, but they're struggling right now. So let's talk about becoming an officer or a boating officer, either one. Well, how would you encourage folks? What would you encourage them to do if they're interested in becoming an outdoor or becoming a wildlife officer or a boating officer?
Yeah, I would definitely encourage them to go to college first off. And like I said, I went to UT. There's numerous universities in the state of Tennessee that offer a program such as wildlife and fisheries management. I encourage them to go take those classes. While you're in college, what I think really helped me on my resume was when I was in college, I really done every volunteer opportunity I could take, something that I could put on that resume. Whenever I graduated, that's what I done. Every summer, I didn't go work at McDonald's or Walmart. I went and I tried to find an internship or a job that was wildlife related.
And you mentioned it earlier that the competition is stiff.
It is.
Not only in Tennessee, but the Southeast and around the country for this line of work. So kudos to you for putting in the time and getting the degree and having the stick-to-itiveness to hang in there and earn the job. It's really good. What UT Martin is another school in
Tennessee
in
Tech,
the state.
Tennessee Tech, UT Martin, and UT Knoxville.
And the degrees that you need to even be considered to interview for the wildlife position, fisheries, you mentioned it, wildlife.
Natural resources management.
Yep, forestry. Am I missing?
I guess there's probably quite a few possibilities or ways to go. Forestry, you said that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of opportunities.
You could have a biology degree, but you still have to have a certain number of wildlife related classes or credits to go along with that biology degree.
Yeah. Well, we're going to run out of time, and I wanted to highlight this real quick before we do. The boat show is kind of the kickoff for boating education season, and that's in January 11th. We'll have the first boating class of the year at the boat show, and that's on 5:30. That's at 5:30 on a Friday, and it's at the Music City Center. And if you buy a ticket, the top 600 for $10. Go take the test. That gets you into the convention
For free.
Yeah, so you can go check out the boats and see if you want to buy something. And we're going to be pre-selling hunting, fishing license, and renewing boats and registering new boats. So all that's going to be happening.
I was asking Betsy about that. I said you could go there, with just your pass, and if you see something you like, you could buy a boat right there off the floor. You could go, not only have your education in your pocket, but you could also register that new boat right there on site.
Register and get your hunting and fishing license while you're at it.
Yeah,
and we'll have officers there, and they can we'll answer all the questions they have. So
wow, that's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, you guys always have a good contingent there.
Yeah, we usually have a lot of people stop by.
Yeah.
So,
well, Josh, I appreciate you coming and being with us today, and
you're welcome.
A lot of good information, and hope everyone watching and listening enjoyed the show, and we'll see y'all next time. Tennessee WildCast. Thanks, Don.
Keep up the great work out there, Josh. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, we'll see y'all next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.